welcome back to Christine's Home Affairs. I have the opportunity to test and review a fairly new product to the market. This is a bag pattern by an Australian designer called I can't say the name Leonie, by Leonie J Creations and Designs. So it's a new pattern now available for download. So come along and we shall test this pattern out together. I've got all the fabric cut out for this bag now. I've got my handle material folded and clipped together. My zipper gusset, I've got a couple of sliders, there's D-rings, swivel clips, my lining pieces and my round bag piece. I'm going to be using upholstery fabric for my outer fabric today. I'm intentionally not going to interface it. I want to see how this holds up with upholstery fabric. I'm just kind of testing the waters on this one to see if I do actually need to interface the main fabric. So that's my main fabric, my lining for the round part of the bag, and then I've got the side gusset for the bag as well, and I need to go and cut a lining for that. I've forgotten to do that. So I've got all my bits and pieces ready. I'll just go and cut a lining for the side gusset and then I can start assembling the zipper gusset. I have to be honest here, I really struggle when I follow somebody else's pattern. I always have an intense urge to change things. In this one I'm going to stick to the instructions of the pattern. The reason I say this is because in this particular pattern, we're not actually going to put the zipper lining onto the back of the zipper at the same time that we put the front on. And so I'm really intrigued as to how this is going to come together. But we'll see what happens. I'm going to follow the pattern to the letter. Well, I'll try to anyway. I have the zipper gusset here. I'm going to set the lining pieces aside. Now I've got my zipper. On the pattern you can use 1 or 2 sliders. I'm actually going to put 2 on it because the pattern does have 2. Pop the other one on from the other side. Find the right side of your fabric and we're going to place the zipper faced down, so the sliders are going to be face down onto my zipper gusset. So using some double-sided tape, I'm just going to run that right along the edge. And I'm going to place the zipper straight over the top. And I'm just going to put a couple of clips to hold that in place. Even though it's got the double-sided tape, it does come away easily. I'm going to take this to the machine and stitch the zip down on both sides. And then I'm going to open it out and I'll top stitch as well. With that stitched down, I'm now going to top stitch, and I'm also going to stitch over the very ends as well to stop the sliders from coming off. So make sure you've opened out all the fabric there, fold it away from the zip and top stitch both long edges and over the ends. For the crossbody straps, take your pieces, fold them in half, and then bring the raw edges into the center, and then you can go and top stitch that. Now I'm just going to quickly go to the machine and top stitch that now, and then come back and do the next step. I've stitched my tabs down on the side there, and take your D-rings and place your D-ring over the top, and then bring the raw edges of your fabric together, take it to the machine and just stitch that closed. Same for the other one. And these tabs will be for your crossbody straps to attach to later on. So I'll just quickly go and stitch that straight across. With our D-rings finished, place them over the edge of our zipper gusset, so 1 at each end, and then take your side gusset and place it right side together. Take the short edge and line that up with the short edge of your zipper, pin all of that in place, and you've now formed the ring for your circles to go onto either side. We're going to take this to the machine now, stitch down both short edges. When we've done that, we're going to open the gusset out and we're going to top stitch. So this zipper, you want to have that face that away and then go and top stitch on both sides. Because there are a lot of layers here with the zip, the fabric and the other side gusset. I'm actually going to go over this a couple of times and repeat for the other side. Now with all of those pieces attached, we just want to separate the main gusset from the zipper section, finger press it open, and then top stitch so that this seam here sits on the least bulky side. And as I do with all of my bags, wherever I've got handles or a lot of stress, I'm going to go and triple stitch. So I've gone over this section 3 times in all, so that it's not going to come away from the fabric. I've got my round pieces here now, and you'll see a few lines here, so you'll make some notches or some marks on your fabric. I've just notched it out. I'll set my lining pieces aside, and I'm going to put a label on this. I haven't decided if I'm going to sell it yet, but I'm going to put a label on it. I'm ambitious, and I'm going to put one of my nicer labels on it. If you're going to put labels on, this is where you need to do it. So decide whereabouts you're going to put your label. I'm going to stabilise the back of my pattern with just a little square of fabric. Because I've got a lot of weight in my tag, I just want to have a little bit more stability on there. So I've used some double-sided tape to add just some extra upholstery fabric. I think that will look nice later on. Find the centre position of your zip. It's really important here to make sure you open up your zipper. So make sure you've got that open, otherwise you're going to have not much fun turning this through. Find the centre of your zipper gusset, and you can make a little notch on either side. There's the centre point of my zipper gusset on both sides. Take your round piece and start lining that up, and then you're going to pin or clip all the way around and just make sure it sits nice and evenly. Now, if anybody was yelling at me, I heard you loud and clearly. I actually had the outside face of my bag the wrong way around from the zip. So if you have a look at this here, you want to make sure when you put your bag together that the outside matches the outside. So you want to have the right sides facing. And I was just about ready to go and stitch this closed when I realised I actually had this upside down. So just double check your work. I'm going to do the same thing for the other side. And when I say the same thing, I'm not going to make the same mistake. Hopefully I've learned. This is the wrong side. I'll line up my notches with the top and the side seams there, and I'll clip the whole lot together. Okay, I've got both sides pinned together and made sure that my zipper is open. And this is starting to come together really nicely. I'm going to take this to the machine, stitch all the way around on both outside edges. It doesn't really matter where you start, just pick a spot and start sewing. Once one side is done, turn it around and you can do the other side as well. Because this is on a circle, also because this is done with upholstery fabric, I'm going to go and stitch once more all the way around the edge. Before I do, I'm going to turn it the right way around and just make sure everything looks okay, that there aren't any pleats anywhere. And if I'm happy with that, then I'll come back and do that second row of stitching. Now this is just, it's not in the pattern, but it's just something that I'd like to do for myself. So I'm going to turn it the right way around, just inspect it to make sure that everything looks good. And if everything looks good, I'll go around it one more time. Then I'm going to go around and snip the edges. Okay, everything looks pretty good when I've turned it through. Just go and clip your curves. You need to do this so that you can turn your bag around the right way and have it sit nice and flat along the edges. If you don't do that, the tightness of the curves is going to cause it to look tight when you turn it around the right way. Okay, let's have a quick look at how it's coming together. It's cute, isn't it? This is going to look much better once it's been pressed. Starting to take on a really nice shape. Let's get on with the lining and the internal pockets. Take your internal slip pocket lining fabric, place that right sides together. We're going to leave an opening here at the top edge. We're going to stitch straight down the top there and along the sides, leaving an opening in there. Clip your corners and we'll turn it through, and then you can just top stitch the folded edge along the top. We'll do that in a minute, and that will get pinned onto one side of our lining piece. Take the other lining piece, and where the notches are here, just on the side, I've just drawn a straight line across there, and then we'll take our zipper facing piece. I've marked the stitching and cutting line onto the wrong side of the fabric. We'll place that right side down over the top of that line there. So if you place that evenly over the top section with this center line matching the notch that you've got here, pin that in place. We can take this to the machine and stitch around the outside edge there, and then we can cut the center out and we'll turn it the right way around. And this one here we will go and take to the machine and stitch as well. And when we've stitched this one down, we'll place it the right way around onto the center of the bag. Let's take this to the machine. The first thing I'm going to do is stitch this right sides together, and I'll leave an opening of about 1.5 inches. And we'll repeat that for this side. I'll clip the corners, turn it the right way around, make sure you've got really nice corners there. I'm not going to close up the bottom edge until I place that onto the circle of my line, circle part of my bag. At the top here where the fold is, I'm going to top stitch that though. Now grab one of your lining pieces, find your notches there, and I'm just going to draw a line, a reference line, so that I know where to put the top of my pocket. And that's the other notch just up there, which will be the center position here. I'm using a fade out pen, so this one will just wear away within a few hours. Center the pocket over the top, make sure that's nice and even. Then we can stitch the side along the bottom to close up this opening and up the side again. Just reinforce the top edges here. I've brought the pocket up just a little bit higher so that it doesn't sit too far down below. When you get to the opening at the bottom, just fold the edges under so that it sits nice and flat. And there's our little pocket. Set this one aside. Now we're going to put the zipper facing template onto the other side of the lining. We're just going to stitch around the outside edges. We'll start around the middle section. Now that that's stitched, we can cut straight along that center line. Along the diagonal, we want to cut up to the point but not through the point. Just make a nick along the center line and then cut up to the point and then into the corner. Repeat for the other side. We can turn this around to the other side, then take it to the ironing board and give it a really good press. This is the piece that we've just stitched down. I've turned it the right way around, pressed it well so that it sits nice and flat. Turn it around, and we want to get some more double-sided tape and just run that along the top and bottom edge. And this is so that we can put the zip in place. Okay, with my opening here and my zipper, I'm not sure if I needed to go and stitch my zipper ends closed because I'm using one that's too big for the job. I'm using a regular dress zip, but you can use a number 5 in this spot. I've stitched it closed here and at this end here because that will come in just up to the edges here, and that will prevent the zip from going any further. And I'll trim this down shortly. Place that down over your double-sided tape that you've got positioned here. Turn it around and just check that it lines up properly. And if you're happy with that, then press it down to secure it to that double-sided tape. With the zipper facing this end now, grab your internal zipper pocket lining, place it with the wrong side facing down. Place this edge along that edge, pop some pins in place. Then we're going to turn it over to the other side and we're going to top stitch close to the edge along here. We only want to do along the bottom edge of the zip. We don't want to do the top edge yet. We'll take that to the machine now and quickly stitch that. You can see here I've top stitched along the bottom edge. Then take the pocket piece, go to the iron and just press that down. Then you want to bring this bottom edge up to the top here. we'll just get some double-sided tape, or you could pin it. Place the two edges together, lining up the side seam as well. You want to make sure that's nice and straight. And then just make a crease in the bottom of the pocket. You can take it to the iron and do that. We're going to stitch this side seam of the pocket no further than the stitching line here, and the same at this end here. I'm going to just take that straight to the machine and do that now. Once we've done that, we can come back to the front, and where we've got this stitching line here, we're going to start from the bottom, we're going to come up the side, come all the way around the top and back down the side and close that entire pocket section in. So we'll take that to the machine now. We'll stitch the side seams of the pocket first, and then we'll be able to close the top section up from the front. So have the circular layer out of the way and repeat on the other side. Flip it around, and I'm going to come up from the bottom here, up the side, along the top and down the side again. Just make sure your zipper is out of the way. Okay, we have both of our pocket pieces done. So we've got the pocket on one side of the lining and the other pocket on the other side of the lining. They're ready to go into the gusset. Take the two zipper gusset pieces and you fold one long edge over. Take the other gusset piece, the really long one here, take one edge and line up the raw edge against the raw edge of the gusset piece, and the raw edge, the short raw edge along here with the short raw edge here. Clip that in place. Take the other one and do the same. You can see that there's quite a big gap here, and that's meant to be because that's where the zipper will be. And take the other side and line that up with the outside edge as well. So you can see that opening there, that's where the zip is. I can take this to the machine and I'm just going to stitch straight across here. So that's been stitched down, and I've also gone and top stitched the seam away from the zipper gusset. Take your circular lining pieces now, and we are going to line up the top zipper section and start clipping this together. This time I'm going to do it the right way from the beginning. I've marked the center of the zipper gusset section with a pin so I can line up the center of the top of the bag. I'll go and clip it all in place all the way around, repeat for the other side, and then we can take it to the machine and stitch it together. We just need to go and stitch all the way around on both edges. Turn it through the right way, check your work to make sure there's no puckers. If you're happy with that, then you can go and clip your curves. Starting anywhere on the outside edge there, I'm going to do a back stitch at the beginning and the end and continue all the way around. Clip the curves as you did on the main part of your bag. Okay, we've got our main bag right way round. The lining is the wrong way round. I've put some clips in the top center of my bag here. So I've done the same thing for the lining. I'm going to drop the lining inside the bag, and then I'm going to match those clips there. Then I'm going to make sure this all fits nice and snugly. You want to line up the folded edge that we did earlier along the zip. Just make sure everything's matched up evenly there. Once you've lined this up, you can take a needle and thread and slip stitch the bag lining in place where the zipper is. The other thing you can do is clip it all in place there. So see where I've already top stitched here? You can leave that out at the beginning and actually top stitch this at the end. Some people may find it a little bit difficult to get the layers under the machine. I think what I might do is clip this in place. Rather than doing this by hand, I'm going to take it to the machine and go over my previous line of top stitching that I've done. Then all I need to do is the handles. Okay, I'm just going to start at one end and go all the way around. If I can go across, I will, and then come back down around. If not, then I'm just going to do the zipper sides and then I'll hand stitch the ends together. Earlier I prepared my handle and I'm going to stitch down both long edges of the fabric. I did manage to stitch the lining to the zipper by machine. Thread one of the strap ends through the swivel clip and then I'll stitch that in place. That swivel clip is in place. I'm grabbing my slider and I'm going to place that over the top. Put the swivel clip on here, go back through the slide. Once you have got your swivels and clips and everything in place, it's just a matter of putting it onto your bag. So just clip it on and we are done. That wasn't a bad little project at all. I do think it needs stabilizer. I'm pretty happy with this. It's an easy pattern. You can certainly do it in a day or half a day, as it says on the pattern. Nice little pockets on the inside there, nicely lined, and it's a really cute little shape. Just needs a really good steam press now. And here it is, the all-round town crossbody bag. This one is done with the upholstery fabric, as I had mentioned earlier. I think this has come up really well. It's just a really nice looking bag. It's almost the same as that leather bag that I did about a month or so ago. It was actually really nice to be able to stitch this one on the machine rather than hand stitching a leather one, which I thoroughly enjoyed. But I actually really like this pattern. So it's a new release by Leonie J Creations and Designs. I'm going to pop a link in the description box below as to where you can purchase this pattern from. It's a downloadable PDF pattern. It's got all the instructions with it, the cutting templates, everything that you need to be able to get started. But the pattern's easy to follow, well written, and I give this one a thumbs up. And thank you very much to Leonie for allowing me to test this product as well. I actually really enjoyed sewing it up. It's got great storage space inside, so much so that I can just pull out a whole cardigan because I had nothing else to stuff in the bag. But you've got some good room in there, a couple of good pockets in there. It's a nice pattern to sew. I hope you've enjoyed this video and I shall catch you next time. Bye for now.